MD Prepper here, giving you guys a breakdown of the individual base component staples for my $4 a day food experiment, or $28 a week food experiment, was rebuttal to that silly SNAP challenge, the food stamp challenge. We're going to start with russet potatoes. Must have, not the highest calories or the best buy overall in your lineup for $4 a day, but definitely worth adding for comfort food and just overall versatility. I cannot think of a single other item with as much versatility as your basic potato. Lots of options on potatoes. I went for russets for the first week's purchase just because, first of all, they were the cheapest overall for a 10-pound bag compared to your fancier potatoes. Russets are also highly versatile, good for baking, mashing into mashed potatoes, French fries, frying, etc. Just a lot of things you can do with this to keep things interesting. Overall, $4.87, not including tax, for a 10-pound bag. Fairly decent there. 3,320 calories for the entire 10-pound bag. The negatives of the russet: relatively shorter storage life and shelf life than your fancier potatoes and all that, but you're going to be using these pretty quick. I expect in this challenge I'm going to be running through about 5 pounds of potatoes a week. That's my estimate overall, so about a half a bag a week. That's what I'm planning on anyway. We'll see how that works out. Let me talk about the nutrition stuff before I get to the cooking options. Nutritionally, these are actually quite excellent for a lot of reasons. Lots of minor nutrients and things in a standard potato. Overall, each potato has about 110 calories each. No sodium, about 18% of your potassium, 26 grams of carbs, 2 grams of fiber, 3 grams of protein, no fat at all, which, you know, is what you would expect. The rest of the breakdown on nutrients: vitamin C. Each potato has 45% of your vitamin C. That's tremendous. You got to leave the skin on, from what I've read, to gain all of that, but I never tend to remove the skin, and if I do, I throw it in the pot or whatever just to cook up extra. So 2 potatoes is pretty much your entire day's worth of vitamin C. No need to boil pine needles. Iron 6%, riboflavin 2%, B6 is 10%, niacin 8%, thiamine 8%, and folate 6%. You say that's not a lot. Well, it's something. Anything's better than nothing. I've got those multivitamins to round out my nutrients. So let me go ahead and talk about the versatility of this. Lots of options. I'm sure I have not thought of them all, and I'm actually hoping that you guys will comment on the wonderful versatility of the standard white potato. Options I've got so far: obviously they can be baked or microwaved to yield something like a baked potato. Baked is better. Boiled, a classic option, and I've read that a heated potato cooled down yields a much better amount of soluble fiber once it's cooled down than hot. And I've read that boiled's better, but who knows. Obviously, mashed potatoes. Current setup, I don't have any milk or anything else like that to make proper mashed potatoes, but I can still mash them up. Obviously, French fries, maybe not the healthiest option, but darn tasty, a good comfort food. Can't say enough of good things about French fries. Hash browns, grate these bad boys up. Hash browns are a standard Waffle House favorite. Home fries, dice them up, etc. Obviously, you can fry those in a pan, or you can bake them. You've got potato wedges, you've got potato pancakes if you decide to slice things up or grind them up. Good to go. Latkes or potato pancakes are very tasty, good with your German-style foods and Jewish-style foods, etc. Love me some potato pancakes. Addition to soups: you dice this up small enough, you can add this as an addition for calories and a booster for just about any type of soup you're making. Doesn't really matter the type, because the potatoes aren't necessarily going to change the flavor of what you're cooking. Just add a little more heartiness to it, be it your standard Western style soups or something Asian style, egg drop soup, etc. Just any old thing. And finally, one thing I thought of as a mood booster and all that, if you're just needing it: potato chips. You could easily make potato chips out of this. You got to make sure you got to have a sharp knife or a mandolin, something like that, and slice it thin enough. But so far my preps only have some oil and some salt and pepper. I'm good to go. I can make potato chips out of this easy. Now, potato chips aren't necessarily the healthiest option out there, but darn it, we like them. Now, a lot of people may say, potatoes, why potatoes? They don't have the highest amount of calories per dollar compared to rice and beans and a lot of other low-cost items. Well, darn it, they're tasty. There's a reason that Americans eat so many potatoes, and that almost every fast food restaurant out there has some type of potato side, be it french fries, hash browns, etc. Hard to get away from the potato in American diets, and I'm trying to stay as close to standard diets as I can. Don't want to go too crazy with options out there, and you can't beat the price of the potato for its versatility. Somebody asked me about food fatigue, I believe is what they called it. Getting tired of eating the same thing day after day after day. Probably not going to happen with potatoes on board. At least not from the starch side of things. If I've got potatoes, I've probably got a lot of options, and, well, not going to run out. Not going to get bored. They're potatoes. Potatoes are tasty. That's the reason we eat them. Hope this was useful. I'll be breaking down other primary bulk foods here in future videos. Welcome your comments, your insights, and hopefully some other ideas about what I can do with a potato. Indie Prepper out.